How you doing, everyone? It's Kevin here with another video, and man, is it a beautiful morning out here. I'm at Rick's garage now. We're working on, actually I'm working on his backhoe. We had a little bit of problem with the backhoe, one of the ears on the backhoe. I'm going to show you what I'm working on. I didn't really do the whole thing on video, but this is probably a common problem with these backhoes. I'm going to show you the ear. It's like where the Outrigger goes. I'll show you what I'm doing here. Okay, this is the Outrigger. Down here is where we're having the problem. I'm going to show you this one here. It's a little bit loose. Let me see if I can get this in here. Right there, you can see how that pin moves around in there. See how that pin moves around? Well, I'm actually working on the one on the other side right now. Hopefully I can see better over there, but it's the bottom pin. And what's crazy is if you look at this one right here, it has a sleeve on the inside. Well, these ones on the bottom don't have it. So it's a weak point there. When you're digging, it wants to bounce back and forth. So let me show you what I'm doing over here on this side. And so what I did is I just took this bottom piece off and the pin out on this side. And what I did is I ground this off and filled it full of weld. And then I just, after I get it filled full of weld, I just grind it out and put the pin back in. And you can see how much tighter. This pin is really tight compared to the other one over there. Well, this one was the worst one. So we got this one done, and I ordered, I have a guy at a machine shop. He's going to cut me a couple 2.5-inch circles. Look at this. He's going to cut me a couple of these out of some mild steel. This is a really hard steel, and I'm not really sure on how to weld this real hard steel in there, but what I want to do is I wanted to weld it on something like that, and then that would give me a much more steel, because this pin sticks out about 3/8 of an inch, so we would have 3/8 more support on that. So that looks pretty good. That's not too bad there, but we will be welding some washers on there and building that up a little bit, make it a little bit stronger. Okay, so I got this side off, this part of the Outrigger. We just swung it over to the side. It swings back and forth. We swung it over to the side. We're going to go ahead and get started on this one here. I really hate that I can't get the video up close, but what we're going to do is we're going to grind off a nice big spot here where we're going to put our washer on. We're not going to be doing the washers right now because I don't have them, but we're going to go ahead and weld the inside of this hole. We're going to build it up with weld, and then we're going to grind it back out so the pin fits, but the pin fits tight. So we're going to go ahead and get started on that. Okay, I just used a 4-inch grinder to clean the surface off. Let me show you what it looks like now. Alright, all we did now is just ground this off here, clean it up a little bit, and then now we're going to take a grinder and grind the inside of this thing out, and we're going to start welding in there. Okay, this is the tool we're going to use next. Sorry about the light, we're outside, we can't give it very much light, but we're going to use this tool to clean the inside of that hole out so we can get our weld to stick. You don't need much in there, just need to clean off all the grease and debris. That's going to work out pretty good. Now we're just going to take our little welder and we're going to go ahead and weld the inside of this pinhole, and then we'll grind it out to fit the pin. So we're basically just building up the walls around the inside of this, then we clean them back up. So that's what we're going to do now. Now we might have to make a few passes on this to build that metal back up in there. Okay, what I did is I got in there and I welded the whole side on this downside. I think this is the one that's pushing out. So I welded it up all really good inside. Now all we have to do is grind it out to make sure the pin fits through the hole. And I'm just using a little die grinder on this to clean out these holes. So, and my grinder needs to be tightened, but I'm not really sure where all Rick's tools are over here. But all we have to do is grind the inside, clean it out real good, and then do the outside a little bit, and we'll have the pin fit. Now you don't want to take too much out of there. You just want just enough where your pin will fit. And that's way tighter than what it was. And what I'm doing for the outside, I'm just taking the 4-inch grinder and cleaning up the outside edges of it so the pin fits flush in there. Of course, we're going to be welding some washers on this piece here in the near future. We got them. I have a guy making them up for me, so we'll get them welded, one on one side and one on the other side, and I think that should be good. So we're going to go ahead and get this cleaned up and get the pin put back in it. Alright, so what we're going to do now, we got those welded up pretty nice and tight, and I went and had these washers cut, and we're going to weld these washers on here. And that's going to give it much more space. This is 3/8, this is 1/4. So we're going to have just over a 1/2 inch of steel, so it's not going to wear that out. So we're going to get this welded in here. We're going to get that welded in there. Okay, we got the washer welded on the other side. Now this side over here was wallered out too pretty good, you can see. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and clean this up inside and get this one a little tighter in there too. Once you got that welded in, take your die grinder and we'll clean it up again, and we'll keep doing this until we got a nice circle. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this one up, get it cleaned up, and get our pin nice and tight in there. So just welding them up, we'll get them tight. And if we have to weld a washer onto here, we're going to have to get a longer pin because it's not going to reach. It's just hitting it at 3/8. So we can add an extra little length to this pin, weld another ear on it, and we could do that too if we had to. If it comes down to it, we'll do it. But right now, we really put a lot of stress on this thing in the last couple days. We were digging and loosened these up and actually broke this pin, this piece here. It broke this piece off. So we're going to have to re-weld this back in. You can see it wasn't much holding it together, but we're going to re-weld this and get this pin put back in, hopefully a lot tighter. Alright, we got the other side finished. We were just doing up this side here, and like I said, all we did was weld the inside, and then we use a die grinder and clean that out real good and get your pin to fit back in there. You got a lot tighter now than what we had it before. So now this is not going to be jacking back and forth. So, you know, the biggest problem with these is there's no grease fittings down here, and what's weird is the top ones up here, the ones up on the top right here, let me go up just a little bit, these ones here have a sleeve inside there, and I don't know why they didn't put a sleeve down there, but whatever it is, we're just gonna get them fixed up and should last for many years.